Are you looking to build long-lasting wealth, right? True financial success, build wealth, not for wealth alone, but so that you can have freedom in your financial life. Well, there's actually a formula for building wealth, and some people in today's environment are trying to cheat that formula. I'm going to explain coming up. My name is Mike Bernard. I am the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. So if you're like most people, you are trying to achieve some level of financial success, but it's not for just a material reason. It's because you have a vision and a purpose for your life, and you want your finances set up so that you can live out that purpose, live out that vision with freedom, right? And so there are big financial goals, maybe to have a certain house, maybe to be debt free, maybe to retire by a certain point, get out of this job and start a business or do something that you're really passionate about, help your kids with college, help grandkids with college, all sorts of things, right? I'm just saying wealth is not, it's not its own end, right? And so how do you build wealth? There's all sorts of YouTube channels out there that are trying to help you with that very thing. And our belief here at Korhorn Financial Group and Wise Money is that there's 6 areas to your financial life that all intersect and work off of each other, so that when you have financial decisions either pop up or you've got to make financial decisions, you've got to look at how that decision is going to impact all 6 areas so that you make the very best decision to get you towards financial freedom. And so one of my colleagues and business partners, Josh Gregory, has, through his research, sort of came up with or was inspired from others about the formula for building wealth. So how do you build wealth? What is that formula? And we've talked about that before on this channel. And so I want to share that again today, but then I want to share what I'm seeing, some people trying to cheat that formula today, and I fear it's not going to end well. So I don't want you to make the same mistake. So here's the thing. Wealth is a formula. So wealth equals time plus cash plus risk. So it's a formula. You give it the right amount of time, you give it the right amount of resource, the right amount of cash, and you apply the right level of risk, mix all those together, that's how you build wealth, okay? And so this lines right up with the most common phrase uttered in this office by new clients, and I'm sure financial planning and financial advising offices all over the countryside. I wish I would have started sooner, right? I wish I would have started sooner. Well, that's folks saying, I recognize it takes a lot of time, and I wish I'd given it more time. Oftentimes, you're going to be working with your certified financial planner. They're going to look at your overall financial situation, and they're going to say, in order for you to achieve this goal, it's going to take this amount of savings each month. You've heard Dave Ramsey say 10% needs to be saved into your 401k. We would argue 15%, right? You've got 12% going into Social Security between your portion and your employer's portion. And so on top of that, you should be putting another 15% or likely more. You need your own custom-built financial plan to figure out how much cash, how much resource, how much you need to be saving over this amount of time in order to reach that goal. But then, and here's sort of the point today, is then you've got to be taking some level of risk to get those dollars to grow, to get your cash to grow over time. All right. If you're not taking any risk, then that is helpful. You're setting some dollars aside, but thanks to inflation, this natural financial law out there in our financial system, thanks to inflation, if you're just taking some cash, setting it aside for a long period of time, and you're not applying any risk, those dollars are very safely losing their purchasing power. And it's very rare would you see someone who could afford to save up so much money and not take any risk and still achieve their long-term financial goals. And so risk has got to be part of the equation for those of mere mortals to build wealth. So this is the formula. Work with your certified financial planner on what are the right inputs for me to build wealth. And it's not really about wealth. It's about achieving your financial goals, living the life that you're called to. But they will help you figure out the right amount of time you need to be saving, how much, and how much risk. Now, so sort of the foundation to all of this, a rock that this formula can sit on, is your comprehensive financial plan. Because if you have a goal, if you've got lots of debt, or you've got you're on unemployment, or your income's not stable, maybe your cash should be going towards something else than saving up for your future, right? So what's the highest and best use of your cash? That influences how quickly you can get started, and your financial plan determines how long you need to work. Therefore, how much time do you need these dollars to grow, and how much risk is prudent? How much risk should you be taking? I would want to take the least amount of risk required. Right? Required. I'd want to jeopardize the least amount in order for me to meet my goals. Okay? What's happening today? Today, we are seeing risk running wild. And there's a few potential reasons for that. No one knows. We live in a very, very complex world, a very, very complex financial system. So I think it has a lot to do with the massive amount of stimulus that's out there, $6 trillion and more. And on top of that, $120 billion a month that the Fed is injecting into the economy. So I feel as though, and there's some folks that measure this, it's the most accommodative financial conditions ever. And I think that's intended to provide some stability for those individuals and businesses that are trying to navigate this difficult and challenging time. But what it's created, maybe an unintended consequence, is those that are doing okay to go wild on speculation. And what that means is they're trying to achieve this formula by cutting their time, reducing their cash, and significantly increasing their risk. What do I mean by that? They're trying to override this formula by instead of just the amount of cash that they have. I read an article last night of someone doing 100 times leverage on a Bitcoin investment. So basically, you take $1 of your own money and borrow 99 of someone else's, and you're going to have that much fluctuation in your investment. I mean, that is, I don't have enough, so I will use financial instruments to leverage the resources that I have to have a bigger impact. A different way of saying this is financial margin. So that's an investment account where you can actually borrow against your investment. Say you've got $1 million in there, you can borrow $500,000. So now you have $1.5 million invested, and you owe, there's a loan for $500,000. And so that's margin, that's investing on margin. Guys, we have record high amounts of margin. We've never had this much margin investing, ever. So that is people trying to take their dollars, their cash, and whether it's a lot or a little, I don't know for each person's situation, but they're trying to leverage their cash or borrow to get more cash and are taking more risk because they're trying to shrink the time and build wealth. I would argue, this formula of time and cash and risk, that's more of a principle. That's more of a guiding principle or a natural law. And if you're trying to override one of these areas, it's very possible you can build wealth. And so how do I know that? Because someone won the $1 billion lottery, right? I mean, and there are some athletes that go out and sign $100 million contracts. And so, of course, this doesn't apply in every single situation. It only applies in most, 99.99999%. And for those right now that are trying to shortcut the time and shortcut their cash and take a lot of risk, it might end well. We've seen examples time and time and time and time again that it doesn't. So how long will this last? How long will this wild speculation? It could last a while. It really could. I would encourage you to just be careful and make sure you've got this formula sitting on a solid foundation. Comprehensive financial planning for all 6 areas of your financial life. Work with your CFP on that. If you don't have a CFP, you can contact one on my team. Find us online, corehorn.com. That's corehorn with a K, or wisemoneyshow.com, or just send us an email, info@corehorn.com. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.